We hear a lot about emotional projection or energy projection, but what is that exactly? Well, have you ever walked into a room and started a discussion with someone and suddenly you have a headache or a stomach ache? That could be because there is a projection happening. Projections are usually very unconscious because we don't know that we are projecting onto ourselves or onto another until we become aware of it. So, first, I want to say that if anyone says to you that you are projecting, try not to take it personally and just look at it as a tool because most of the time we don't know that we're projecting anything until we become aware of it. Now, depending on what this person that you're having a conversation with, and you suddenly feel something in your body, that could be because that's where they are holding the tension or the pain or the fear or whatever it is in their body. And we automatically pick up on that. And sometimes we think that this is ours because all of a sudden we don't feel very good. And that's how we take on someone else's projection so easily without even knowing it because we think that because we get triggered physically that this is ours. And sometimes we don't know that, and we have to be able to release it and let go of it. But very unconsciously, we take on the projections of others without even knowing it. Preconceived ideas or assumptions and unspoken expectations are a playground for the undisciplined mind to project onto yourself or another. And when I say undisciplined, I don't mean that it's such a bad thing. I remember when my mind was very undisciplined, and when I first became aware of how much my thoughts were running and running and running in circles, and how my mind and my nervous system was not very quiet or feeling very relaxed and at ease at all. That can be very unnerving to feel that when your mind is going and going because you don't really know how to stop it. But becoming aware of it is really the first step. And projection is where you take a thought and project it onto your body or onto someone else. And again, this is done very unconsciously until we become conscious of it. Sometimes we can have pain from our childhood, and we may not know that that pain is there. We might not know that that energy is there affecting our emotions, our thoughts. Maybe we get triggered, and it's just creating something in our lives that we don't want to create. For example, if we had a past relationship with someone in which they hurt us, we can feel triggered over and over again by another person because we are projecting onto them that we are expecting this situation to be the same. So when we get challenged or when somebody says something that triggers us to feel a certain way that we used to feel, we automatically take that projection and dump it onto the current situation. Most of the time, those things are not actually happening. It's our past ideas and our assumptions and the unspoken things that we haven't said to another person that are making everything feel as if this whole thing is happening again. And again, it's not your fault. But this is how we co create with other people. And we're co creating with our own thoughts and emotions until we become aware that we're actually doing that. We're actually projecting a past experience onto a present experience. So, how do we stop projection? Well, the first step is just to become aware that you're actually projecting. And I know that I've taught projection to people before. And sometimes, because of where my healing is at, I have made assumptions about where other people's healing is at, not knowing that they don't quite understand things the same way that I do. And most people don't understand things the same way that you do because we're all different people with vastly different experiences. And this is where communication comes in to understand where we may have assumptions or unspoken expectations of another person, or maybe where we are expecting things of people that we don't need to be getting, but because we didn't get them in the past, we don't know how to give them to ourselves, and we're continuing to want to get them from other people. Projections, as stated in my previous example, where you can get a headache or a stomach ache, can actually hurt. When someone is projecting something very heavily in a room, or you walk into a room and you can feel that the energy is different than it was outside the room, that's a very good example of projection. And sometimes you might want to remove yourself from that situation because you don't know what's happening or you don't know why. But also take the time to clear yourself out of that to see if you were triggered at all, to see if you are believing some of the things that people are saying, and just to clear your energy field afterwards. And then you don't have to take on someone else's projection. A lot of times we take on projections from our childhood, from caregivers or authority figures, because we have been told that we have to believe this, that we have to do something a certain way, and we carry those into our adult lives, except that you can rid yourself of those projections and take them off. Hypnotherapy is really great for reprogramming the subconscious thoughts and emotions that we have. By getting right into the emotions, we can actually get rid of all these projections because we don't have to project onto someone else, and we don't have to project on ourselves. And we definitely don't have to take on the projections of other people. It just takes practice to actually stop your mind to see where these thoughts and emotions might be coming from. And also to give yourself the grace and love and compassion to know that you weren't doing this on purpose. If you were projecting at someone, don't beat yourself up over it because now you're just making yourself feel bad. You don't need to, but becoming aware of the projection is the first step. And it's also just important to try to listen to someone if they feel that you are projecting at them. Hypnotherapy is great for helping to reprogram any projections or preconceived ideas or getting rid of beliefs that you don't want to have, because you can tell yourself what you want to say and how you want to feel, and you can adopt that into your nervous system and make it your new reality.